From the gateway to bourbon country in Louisville, Kentucky, welcome to the Firkin podcast, where every drink tells a story. I'm Brian.
I'm Chris. What's going on, Brian?
Chris, man, I'm just super excited about it being summertime right now. What's been going on with you?
Man, let me tell you. So summertime has driven me to clearly the doctor for a checkup.
That's right.
Okay. So I'll go to the doctor, go in for this checkup. And normal checkup, I'm clearly not the healthiest person in the world. So I go in and I'm like, she goes over everything. She's like, hey, you need to eat a little healthier. You need to live a healthy, like, active lifestyle. Like, go out and exercise. I'm like, sure. Yeah. I mean, it is. It absolutely is important. So after she said that, I took her up on my word. I started working out. No shit. So I start going out and I start walking. I'm doing all that great stuff. Last Sunday, it's beautiful outside. It's like 70 degrees, no humidity. It's amazing. Unbelievable. So I'm outside and I'm playing, I'm walking, I'm doing stuff with the kids, I'm throwing frisbees, I'm doing all of the dad stuff that day, okay?
Look at this guy.
This is 2 weeks in.
Yeah.
So later that night, I sit down. You know what happens?
What?
Brian, I can't get back up.
That is a problem.
Like, I'm sitting on the chair and I have to yell at my wife. I'm like, oh, I'm in pain. Like, I can't get up. Like, right. I'm in serious pain.
Sure. Yeah.
I'm not in just like, I'm old man pain. I'm in serious pain. I can't move.
Might be old man pain.
It could be old man pain. So the next morning, I call the doctor. I'm like, I need to go and see a doctor. Like, I was that bad.
Sure.
And I don't want to, I'm cheap. I don't want to go to the doctor. It's like, so what'd you do? And I said, I did what you told me. So it's outside, I'm exercising, I'm doing shit.
Right.
She's like, well, maybe you need to take it easy.
Doctor's
I'm like,
orders.
take it easy. What the hell? So you know what I did? I went home and drank whiskey.
Well, that is a good thing to do. And I'll tell you what.
What's that?
That's a great segue because today we have a great whiskey company.
Who do we got, man?
Man, we got some people from Hemingway Whiskey Company, right? We've got Forrest Smallwood, Director of Marketing Community Engagement. We've got a couple of master distillers up in the room, too, with Jacob Call and Clayton Call. Yeah,
what's going on, guys? Yeah. Hey! Brian will actually probably pull in some fake clapping because there is no studio audience here.
We got Clayton over here. He's on the couch. He's going to join us in a little bit later here. No, but it's good to have you guys here, man. Yeah, thanks for coming.
Glad to be here, man.
Super excited to be here.
So, before we get into any whiskey, or before any stories, I guess, let's cheers. Cheers.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you, gentlemen, for coming on. We truly appreciate it. Thank you so much. So let's have a little glass of Hemingway rye whiskey.
That is Jesus fucking super good. Tell me about this, guys.
No, man, that's it's a collaboration that I did with my dad and my brother and the Groth family and the Hemingways. 9-year-old MGP, 95% rye blended with some 4-year-old Green River, 95% rye that I made.
Yeah, baby.
And then we finish it off in one of those rum-seasoned Oloroso sherry barrels. It's like Christmas in a bottle. You'll get a little bit of that spice and sweetness all at the same time.
I'm feeling Christmas in a bottle right there.
It's such a dessert pour. You know, it's like a dessert pour, but it's something that you can continue to go back to. I get a little bit of those raisins, but chocolate and dried fruit.
Which goes back to everything my doctor told me to stay away from.
That's right. Yeah. I think she meant that you needed lower proof whiskey.
That might be true.
She said, eat more grains.
More grains.
So, yeah. Like, thanks, Doc. Listening.
Well, I'll tell you.
Listening.
We got some grains in this bottle right here.
We do have grains in the bottle here. Yeah, I appreciate it, especially with the chocolate notes and stuff like that. Definitely a healthy person's drink.
That's right.
No doubt about it. Guys, this is great whiskey. When Forrest actually introduced this to me a couple months back, he came up and as I think you've said one time before, Forrest is what the absolute.
He's the hype man. He's the hype man the Chancellor of Morale.
Chancellor of Morale.
Head of hype.
There's no doubt. And I've worked with Forrest for a long time, and Forrest is a hype man. But he's like, you got to taste this whiskey. Forrest knows my favorite grain is rye.
Yeah.
So first off, when you're gonna give me a rye grain, like I'm pretty picky on the type of rye because I mean it is my favorite grain. We sat down, we tasted this. I couldn't stop. Like,
yeah.
I mean, you see what this bottle looks like. This wasn't a full bottle when we started the podcast. Like it was. I drank a lot of this, and you can see I have a pretty extensive collection of whiskey. If I'm going through a bottle like that, that means it needs to be hidden from me.
Yeah, this Hemingway is good.
That's a problem.
It's a 95% rye.
It is, yeah.
100 proof?
100 proof, yep.
Gosh. And it doesn't drink like that at all.
And I think that a lot of that has to do with, right? And I think that's our story behind the bottle is really, Jacob, whether we trickle a little bit of Green River in here that he distilled. And then Jacob's brother, Clayton, he helps with the blending process.
Yeah.
And then the finish, which tells the story of the whole brand, is, it's a rum finish sherry cask that his dad actually distilled, is the master distiller of Papa's Pilar. So I think that sherry does something to that heavy 9-year-old rye that kind of dries that a little bit, but that rum gives it that sweetness, that little bit of just hint of deliciousness, a dessert that you really are looking for that rye. It just hits that edge.
Yeah.
Which is so cool of that, with the rye, that normal grain that you get that spiciness that normally comes with rye. So adding that sweetness from the sherry just really gives it that like little sweet,
just like a little hint.
Yeah, it's a little.
Yeah.
It's not much because you do still get some spice that's still there, but just a little coating of sweetness.
And then it's cool because we age to taste, right, and we finish to taste. So when it gets too much, you can sit it in a rum barrel for 12 months. You get companies that say we want it in 36 months in a rum barrel. Well,
too rummy.
It's too rummy and it's too syrupy, and so it's really taken out of the barrel each week to kind of taste it, see what it tastes like. And Ron in Lakeland, Florida, and Clayton and Jacob do a good job of saying, all right, it's ready to go. I think this one right here is one, that Chris is on the board for the Ascots, and this one a double platinum and several golds and a platinum award. Our signature what's coming out is a blend of 90% 6-year-old MGP, and then 10% Green River 4-year-old, finished in the same sherry rum, and it's 1-3 double platinums and a single platinum. So it's one of the most awarded whiskeys in the Ascots last year. So
awesome.
We're really,
I mean, you guys
excited.
are putting out incredible stuff for just being. I mean, brand new to this brand. You're definitely not brand new to whiskey by any means.
Yeah, you might have been around for a little while, right?
Just a little bit. But what you've done with this brand of kind of having full control over this brand of everything that's kind of happening with it, to the juice you're putting in a bottle, to the label design, to the bottle design, everything. As we said earlier, this bottle design is so cool. It's got this like family library card on the back of it. Well, which is so neat. And as I've said before, that most people under the age of 21, actually probably under the age of 30, have no idea what the fuck that is.
Yeah. Dewey Decimal System.
They look at it, they're like, library? What's a library?
Bring me in on that a little bit further for us, just kind of like the bottle design.
And I think marketing is obviously when we look at do brands, and Steve Groth, our founder of the brand, he was also a co-founder of Angel's Envy, and it's attention to detail, right?
Absolutely.
And our tag is pour your story, and I know that's similar to your tag for the podcast.
Yeah.
And so I think that he is really in touch with putting a great team together to tell those stories, right? And the Call family dating back to having land disputes with Elijah Craig in 1791. You bring in the Groth family and the sons of the Groth family who tell that story of building brands for 16 years in Angel's Envy, and then you throw in Ernest Hemingway in the mix. I mean,
right.
It's just it makes a lot of sense, and when most of the time when you have a brand that has all those oozing marketing hit points, the quality of the juice just kind of falls short. And Steve's always said, we want to look good, taste good, and do good.
That's right.
And we really, really hit a home run with the juice, and the packaging itself it kind of hits home, right? So the front of the bottle, you see 3 typewriter keys that spell out rye. Those are a direct replica of Ernest Hemingway's most typed typewriter that he used.
Yeah.
And on the back, like I said, it's the first brand that Jacob's done and Clayton's done with their father. And so one of the things that I always thought about, there's we work with the Groths, Kyle and Paul, and a young lady out of Los Angeles named Lindsay, who does a lot of the bottle designs. And it's just, how can we really bring generational stories together? And it's putting a library card that you can sign with whoever you tasted it with, and go back and look at that in 10 years and just say, hey, I remember tasting that with my dad, my grandfather, my brother. And Papa's Pilar, Papa's what Hemingway had people call him, right? He's like, just call me Papa, right?
Call me Papa.
Call me Papa. It's kind of a little bit of Biggie in him. So, just call me
love
Papa.
it.
It's good to know.
So it really, and the Pilar was the name of his boat, all right?
Okay,
and so if you come down to Key West, and we were just ranked ranked the number 2 best distillery in the United States by USA Today. And so the distillery sees hundreds of thousands of people a year because of cruise lines, right? And so it's really cool. You can come take a tour of the distillery itself, see how Papa's Pilar is made. You can also come into the library. They have live music. They have hand-rolled cigars from time to time.
Yeah, sounds like we should have a live show.
No kidding.
From the distillery.
Or a boat outside, and we can go deep sea fishing.
So what we do is we take a break, go deep sea fishing, come back and finish off the show.
Yeah, and it's just a really, really cool, start, and obviously that's our sister company. The bottle itself, Ernest Hemingway was a writer in World War I and II, and some pretty cool things that Jacob has really found out is that he wasn't able to fight, right? Because he was on the journalism side, and he also drove an ambulance for a small amount of time. But he would create his own platoons and go out and fight when nobody else would know, because that's the type of person he was. So this is actually what his water decanter looked like. Even the chain on it, that's what kept the top on. How
compass.
They kept
compass on the
compass
top.
is on top, just to kind of talk his navigation, and then the chicken on the front, the medallion. And if you ever been to Key West, the roosters and the chickens, they run the streets and
they were chasing Forrest down the street the last time that I was there. It was pretty
So
funny.
all I can thank you so much.
From the
So
roosters.
There are
all
chickens
I
next
see
door, so
right
be
now
careful.
is Forrest with his hands up, screaming like a girl running through the sheets of Key West.
It is not it's not the ones on the ground. It's the ones that are in the trees. That,
Wait, chickens getting trees?
Dude, that's what I thought. And
We got chickens behind the house, man. Are you gonna be okay?
No, dude. These were different, dude.
No, I'm not.
These were wild. They were
We didn't tell Forrest that there were chickens in the back of the house before he came. He's getting a little nervous. I see him getting sweaty now.
They wanted every piece of me, man. And I wasn't very good on the boat either, man. Key West and we had a really rough trip. So.
Yeah, no, as soon as you grabbed that bottle and you saw it, I mean, you immediately handed it back to Brian like it's bringing back memories.
Dramatic, wasn't it? Yeah.
They wrote out the Hemingway group when we came down, and we have a really good hospitality team that does cocktails and stuff. And we had we had a 5-course meal, but 9-course pairing of cocktails, and I was like, holy smokes. It just kept coming. It was phenomenal, man. And like I said, they just roll out the red carpet. I'm used to that, right? And you become desensitized to a lot of that hospitality, being in the industry, and it's good to see people do it the right way.
Yeah.
So it's kind of cool, man.
We'll definitely have to make a trip down there, Brian.
Absolutely.
Anytime.
Guys, awesome, I know my opinion doesn't mean anything, but I'm telling you what, this first edition rye is, as I've said many times before, and as you'll hear throughout all night, I'm going to tell you, rye is one of my favorite grains. And I think to do it justice is very, very difficult, because you can come over overpowering with too much rye, almost where it may even feel that it's new whiskey, because it's just so hot and so spicy. And the blend that you guys have put together has just really balances it out. On top of it, a really well balanced finish where it stays long, but there's not so much spice on the tongue or anything like that. It just kind of just brings it all together.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm so impressed with what you guys have done to this bottle. To rank up there as coming out as a new rye hitting the market as one of my top favorite ryes on a shelf, as Brian and I were talking. Brian's a huge rye fan too.
Oh, big time.
When we kept expanding this, it was hard to keep all as rye's my favorite grain, to keep it all on one shelf. And I'm like, all right, well, Hemingway's got this big bottle.
Rye's taking over.
As you don't see, I had to pull some stuff forward on the shelf back here because we took the bottles off to drink them.
Well, I think the thing about rye is it's so complex, right? It's other one side. It can be so different, and it's really interesting because you look at our first edition has 94% of it's a 9-year-old rye, and when we came out with the signature, I was at they asked me the tasting notes, right? And a marketing guy, I do the tasting notes, and they're like, "What do you think of it?" I'm like, "Well, it hits a lot of traditional rye notes that I don't get with the 9-year-old, right? It's two different products." And so, that the rye note is very, very, it's hard to work with. It's easy to mess up. And so you really, you've got to be particular on your finishes.
Definitely easy to mess up.
It is. And you're right. And I think that a lot of these rum finishes have become syrupy, and it sits in the rum barrels for far too long. And that's why we do it to taste.
I do want to throw that over to Jacob real fast, because you do say it's heavily, it's hard to work with, easily to mess up. And I would say, I don't make whiskey by any means whatsoever, but I would have to truly agree with you. I would like to hear from you a little bit on that aspect.
Yeah, it foams really bad. Like if you don't watch what you're doing, it will foam out of the fermenter over the roof of the distillery.
Wow!
Not saying I've ever done that, but
sure.
But I've heard
it will do that.
I've heard it can happen.
It turns to super glue if you don't watch what you're doing, and it'll clog up all your pipes and your pumps.
Oh wow!
Wow! I had no idea that.
Yeah,
That's incredible.
Yeah, you got to really, if you can make a good rye whiskey, you know what you're doing.
Wow, that's impressive.
And just like Hemingway, we don't do anything the easy way. So
right,
so
don't.
There's a reason why we led with rye whiskey, and we thought that there was a category that we can definitely capture. And Jacob and his family and Clayton and Ron they've really hit it out of the park with this.
Now, was Hemingway known for drinking a lot of rye whiskey?
He did, yeah, up in Montana. So he had a summer house up in Montana where he would go, and rye was his choice because he was, near Montana and Canada and up in there. There's a lot of rye.
He was a very, restricted guy who didn't really drink anything else.
Rarely.
Yeah, really kind of
he never drank it.
Yeah,
Just anything put in front of him.
Very conservative.
I'll tell you what a really cool story is. Kenny Chesney has a song called Hemingway Whiskey, and it's a little older, but it dates back, and Kenny Chesney's a huge fan of Papa's Pilar. He has a dog named Pilar. There's some really cool stories behind it. Obviously, he has a connection to Key West, but
he does.
So
Kenny Chesney likes to go out on the beach.
So it's really
weird.
Interesting to hear the stories of the Hemingways and how they're connected to the brands, right? And so we are still connected to the Hemingway family. Steve Groth has a direct connection with them, and so they came to him and said, "Hey, do you want to do a whiskey brand?" And obviously, being traveling Montana, he drank rye whiskey. It just made a ton of sense.
That's really cool.
Now, I do have one more question with the Ernest Hemingway and the name. You don't really see a lot of that name being used anyplace else, like Hemingway. You don't see it. Like
their family will not allow it.
Yeah,
their family would not allow it. There was actually a bar in Nashville that was called Hemingway, and they don't take fond of someone taking their name. So
that to me means like that they probably tasted this Papa's Pilar, this Hemingway, and said, "Oh yeah, you know what? Absolutely, this is worthy." Of having
did you guys just get them drunk one night?
And Forrest came in and he said, "Hey,
no, it's Patrick Hemingway, and they have some relatives that are still very active in the brand. They are really, really interesting folks. If you think of Ernest Hemingway's family, they're them to the T. So, I believe they were out in Montana shooting down some of the Chinese balloons, and so it's a really cool family, man, and they're really behind the brand. So.
I would really hope that Hemingway's family was out there shooting down balloons.
That's great.
Yeah, they. They're advisors definitely. They're. I think Patrick is the son. He's in his 90s, but he likes to He likes to see the pictures, and he advises on the brand codes and stuff.
That's awesome, man.
That's so cool.
Because we're talking Hemingway was probably like 35 to 65, I guess.
Yeah. So, the family itself, and I think that, Hemingway came in a really tough time, right?
Yeah.
And you look back on what was available for him to kind of drink and stuff, and we kind of laugh, but he drank anything that was really put in front of him, right? And it's because that's what he kind of had to do, right? I want to say something, obviously the family's involved, and what do they, how are they involved is really, I guess, what you guys are asking, and they give a lot back to They have some charities themselves, and Papas Pilar actually has a conservation a group and program that gives back to the coral reef, and they're rebuilding coral reef down in the ocean. And so that is a big push for them. And obviously Hemingway will adapt its own conservation program, but that's a big thing for the Hemingway family, and that's kind of how they saw this program going, is how they could give back, and so that's their part to the brands.
Amazing.
That's awesome. I need to buy more.
Yes, we'll find you more.
Okay.
And most of the Krogers have it, so if you're listening to the podcast and you find it, it's in most of the Kroger stores in Kentucky.
Yeah, because you told us earlier,
Yeah.
as we just talked on the outside, is that this is the first edition. What's out there, there's a little bit more coming to market, but once that's it, we're done. Anything else is going to be second, third, fourth, fifth, 12th edition. How small of a release was this? Is there product out now? Is this available for people to go out and purchase still right now? Do we have to wait for another edition? What do we got?
Yes, so there was 2,000 cases. It was in Kentucky, Tennessee, and Florida, online only. Majority of it in Kentucky went to a lot of the Kroger stores. We still have stuff that's in the market now. There's there's still stuff coming right before the signature. So we have one more shipment coming into Kentucky, and then once it's gone, it's gone. And then we'll move on to the second edition.
Have to go out and grab this. There's no doubt about it. You have to go out and pick up a bottle of this. You're missing out. If we run out of this, that's your fault. 100% your fault. Because if it's out there available, you have to go out and purchase it.
And it's been fun. I mean, obviously we've had early conversations with it, and we've really put it in front of the right people, and if people taste it, we were just kind of really blown away about it, you know. And it was the number 4 rye whiskey for the Ascot, or for Fred Minnick's blind tasting last year in the world.
Oh, is that right?
I mean,
nice.
A lot of accolades. Number 26 best whiskey in the world for Fred's blind tasting, and so we're really excited about the first edition that's out right now. So
you did it. You did a killer job on it.
I can't take all the credit, but I'll take a little bit.
Okay. Forrest gets none.
None. No.
At least not today.
He
tasted it a bunch of times, right?
Just head of hype.
For the
All
head,
I do is taste.
For the head of hype, he's got some pretty good taste.
He does.
He'll surprise you.
When he told me to try this, I've known Forrest a while now, and Forrest does have some hype, but you didn't lie, man.
I didn't stop calling you about it because I knew we had something good.
So, Forrest, real quick, man. Basketball.
Yeah, I'm really curious about this, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, Kentucky.
Yeah,
this is a basketball state, baby, right?
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, I played a little bit of basketball. I was a graduate at Bellarmine, won a national championship. 2011 was still a Division II, and so I still donate a little bit of time. I work for the ESPN Plus, which cover all their games. So I do their color commentary, and some really cool things coming out of some of the guys at Bellarmine that played basketball there. Alani New, I see your refrigerator in Prime. Right. Max Clemens was a player at Bellarmine, and so I know you got Coach Davenport coming on.
Yes, we do.
So we've got some really cool things. I've actually was fortunate enough to buy a Green River barrel when we launched Green River in February of last year. Was tornado relief fund Jacob and the team put together for Western Kentucky when the tornadoes came through. Aaron Kaiser painted these barrels for us, and we auctioned them off, and I was able to get one, and it came with a single barrel. So that single barrel's aged, and so we're going to donate that barrel to the Bellarmine basketball team, and so we'll have some pretty cool stuff coming out. And so Scotty will tell you a little bit more about that, and his son Doug, but just super cool stuff, man. And
I think we're working to get Aaron on the show too, right?
Yeah, Aaron's going to be on the show. Aaron's really neat. And obviously I've met Aaron through Maker's Mark. And then I got a call from Jacob and the team at Green River. It was like, when they get a recruiter is calling you, right? And they don't really tell you where it's from, or there's not much in Owensboro other than Green River at the time. And so
right.
Aaron actually called me. He's like, hey, you want to take a tour of Green River? And it was like 11 o'clock at night, and I saw Green River before I even met Jacob because he was redoing it all. I was like, this is really, really cool, man. So just the history with Jacob and 1791, and one of the cooler things is that they found out is they had a land dispute with Elijah Craig at that time. And so,
is that right?
A little early bourbon rivalry. So
wow,
it's like leading into Ernest Hemingway right there.
2 or 3 depositions. Yeah, that's
No
mentioned
way.
that. So-
Because Elijah Craig gets pretty much most of the credit for
Father of bourbon.
Yeah,
Right.
father
Well,
of
maybe they were
bourbon.
fighting over that back then. I don't know.
Wow.
Yeah, no. I think
Look
that
at
puts
that.
it in perspective for you, like how deep the Call family. What I like to say is they're the untold story of the whiskey trail, and so we're just kind of telling that story, man. Super excited about the Western Kentucky Distilling Company of allowing Hemingway be a home there, and
Yeah.
we're 30 minutes from Bowling Green, 30 minutes from Owensboro, an hour and a half from Nashville, an hour and a half from Louisville.
Yeah.
We're going to do some really cool side-by-side trails out there that you can go out and taste whiskey and some other really cool things. Hemingway's going to have one of the coolest barrel programs that you will ever see. And so we're just excited about it.
So is this going to be is Hemingway rye going to be produced and eventually
Well,
out? Is that what
we're
going
going
to
to do
have out
our first distillation of Hemingway rye will be probably around September of this year.
there? Awesome.
So we've got 81 acres at the distillery, so we're going to plant some rye. On one of
Oh,
the
cool.
fields
So you'll
there.
be able to kind of be
Yeah.
sustainable a little
Yeah.
bit there on top of
Mhm.
it.
Wow.
And
awesome.
then our distillery is surrounded by about a 1,200 acre farm where there's corn and stuff. So, I mean, we're pretty rural. It's got that country distillery kind of vibe
Oh, cool.
to it. So
Nice.
So when's going to be opening date for visitors? Do we have an opening date yet, or rough
No, not
ideas?
yet. We'll probably start distilling in a couple weeks, mid-June. Probably do some tourism stuff next year. We got to make it pretty first. It's pretty rough out there right now. It's we're all about just making that first barrel. So once we get going, we'll get into the tourism stuff.
So
Pretty quick.
you guys have anything planned for that first barrel celebration, Phil?
If things go right, it might be on my birthday, which is
Oh,
June the
that's
16th.
cool.
So we'll,
Look at that.
Happy
we'll
birthday!
see. We'll
Happy
have-
early birthday,
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
We'll have a special birthday edition, maybe.
Man,
I
that
like
would
it.
be
That'd
cool.
be cool. Yeah,
cool. That'd
yeah,
be
that'd be
really
awesome. So the distillery is just, it's just the accessibility. I don't know if you guys ever been to Beaver Dam. They got a famous gas station sits the median of the highway there, but you can
On
see
the way to Kentucky.
Yeah,
I
the
did.
way-
Yeah, that's like my favorite place. I'm like, oh, I know exactly where I am because
No, I now that you say that, I do know exactly where that is.
And
Yeah.
that-
So you
I mean,
know exactly where our
There
distillery
you
is.
go, man. It's one of the easiest distilleries to find. If you can find that, you can find the distillery.
So how far are we exactly away from Louisville?
About an hour and a half from
Okay.
the distillery.
It's not
Yeah,
bad.
super, super easy. I was driving to Maker's Mark from out here every single day. So for me, that's roughly about the same, the easier drive going to Western Kentucky. So
Absolutely.
if you've ever driven to Loretto, you understand how rough that drive is. So
Forrest, thank you so much for coming on. We are going to say goodbye to you for a little bit.
not a problem.
We're going to take a quick break, and we're going to bring up Clayton Call and drink a little bit more.
that's right.
So, Forrest, you can drink off the side.
Okay, as long as you're not going to restrict me.
No, I'm not restricting.
only like tasting pours though.
Yeah,
Okay,
only
like-
Forrest pours for you, buddy.
Only sips.
All right, we'll be right back.
Guys, thank you all.
Hey, listener, thanks for tuning in. I just want to jump in here real quick and remind you to go check out our website at firkinpodcast.com and make sure that you subscribe on your podcast platform, whether it be Apple, Google, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. Make sure you hit the subscribe button and rate and review us. It just helps us kind of get the algorithm going and get out there to more listeners. And please share us with a friend. If you're enjoying what you're hearing, I'm sure you have a friend that's going to enjoy it just the same, and we'd like you to share that along. So thanks for listening, and we'll get back to the episode.
We're back.
Yes, sir.
We're back. Did you have a couple pours while you were over on the couch?
Yeah, I did. You guys sure make you guests feel comfortable.
That's right.
That's right.
That's what we try to do.
We especially we're trying to get you all liquored up before you get on the podcast.
Trust me, I'm glad to be here.
You're still down in Florida?
Yes,
Yeah.
Southwest Florida.
So what are you doing down in Florida?
Right now, I'm actually doing sales with Pilar and the whiskey.
Okay.
Helping out where I can with the whiskey, whether it's here, Kentucky, Tennessee,
Yeah.
Florida, and then just pushing the shit out of it.
So tell me, guys, like, okay, so Hemingway, right? I mean, was this a big part of your growing up? Like Ernest Hemingway, did that come into a lot of your family kind of vibe, or was it something more that's picked
No,
up later
I would
on?
say not growing up. I mean, I had to read. I think I was forced to read those books
Right.
in high school,
Yeah.
but appreciate them more now that
Right.
you get to learn about who he was and stuff. But
Yeah.
no, not really. I mean, it was we love the outdoors. Our family does. We fish and hunt and stuff like that. We're big outdoors people. So that whole Hemingway outdoorsman theme really fits in well with our family.
Yeah,
for sure.
So Clayton, how did you get into to the business altogether?
Being 4 years behind Jacob in age, kind of same upbringing. He went through the working at Florida Distillers where Dad was, taking care of the cattle ranch, and then it was my turn. So had the shitty jobs at first,
Absolutely, gotta learn the business.
Yeah, you go from mopping to cleaning tanks to eventually producing stuff. So that was fun. And big cattle ranch that we after he oversaw it, then it was my turn. One story that I like to tell is my first date with my girlfriend, now wife. We were going to check the cows, and
yeah, sure you were.
Check the cows before
That's one way to put it. Going to before dinner. And damned if you wouldn't know, there was a stillborn calf that we had to pull from a mama cow. So, that was my first date.
God, she came back.
Oh my.
Yeah, married him.
Yeah, married you.
22 years.
Oh shit. So was it slim pickings in Florida? They're like, I guess I'll take him. I guess I'll date the guy with the stillborn calf.
Look what he just did. That's pretty impressive.
I have no idea.
Maybe she thought you were going to be a doctor.
Right. That's what it was. She thought you were going to be a veterinarian.
Yeah.
You took her back there, and she stood this whole time, and
she's
just never
still
happened.
waiting. She's still waiting.
He was like, the classes are long. Takes 22 years to get through.
I'm still working on it, baby.
I'm going to be the best
there.
vet you've ever seen. Better than Dr. Doolittle. Talking to the animals.
Talking to 'em.
Are these dairy cattle or are they beef cattle?
They're beef cattle.
Right on. Yeah.
How many you guys have?
Now, probably down to 50, 60 head.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
So,
What was it at the height?
Yeah, and it's max.
Yeah.
a couple hundred, probably.
Yeah,
Wow.
one
We
time
had
over
different-
300 at one time.
Wow. How many acres is that down there? I mean,
You don't run as many cattle down there on up here an acre a cow. Down there is more like 5 acres, something like that. But we had one time probably 1,200 acres, I guess. We had cattle on down there.
So I did during the break while we were switching over, I went ahead and I poured me a little bit of that Papa Pilar. And this is the one that finished in the sherry cask, correct?
Yes.
The red one.
Yep.
This is awesome.
there's so much flavor
love
going
rum.
on in there.
I just absolutely love rum. So who came up with kind of the distillation or anything like that? Was that?
Yeah, so with Pilar, it's mainly sourced. They do have a little rum distillery in Key West. So some of the rum and the Pilars do get distilled in Key West. But what's kind of cool about it is they'll take 7 different rums from around the Caribbean, which kind of fits into Ernest Hemingway's theme, traveling, little playboy traveling around everywhere.
Cool.
So he's got Nicaragua, Venezuela. I know he's got some Peru, Barbados, Dominican, some from Florida. So he takes some really from all over, and then he'll finish it in those sherry barrels.
Awesome.
Yeah, Oloroso sherry barrels.
How long is it spending time in the
Yeah, he really does it more to taste. I don't think he's got a specific.
So he's going in there
time.
tasting, saying, you know what, it's ready to go, ready to be bottled.
That's what he uses me for.
Oh, yeah, good. There you go.
Try it now.
There you go.
So, that's what we do with the Hemingway, the rye whiskey. We'll take that rye and then we'll finish it again in the same barrel that had the sherry in it.
Oh,
so that's where you'll pick that up, in the rye.
And then how long are you guys leaving the rye? Is that by taste? Or
It's also by taste. Yeah, it was about 2.5 months on this first edition, and then the signature series that's going to come out was I think 2 months.
Yeah, you got to remember the Florida heat's a lot different than Kentucky heat.
True that.
So, and that's where you're aging it down. You're aging it down in Florida.
Yeah,
down there. Oh, okay. Oh, cool.
Yeah, so the rye, comes down there, and then we're just finishing in that.
I guess I didn't think of that part of it. You're sitting it down there, and that's where it's going to age for a little bit. So you're dealing with humidity, heat, all kinds of craziness.
Mosquitoes.
Is that taste that we're getting?
Yeah, I read about you, Clayton, that you're specialized in identifying unique wood finishes. That's your gig, huh?
I just sniff and taste stuff.
So. I like it.
he said, somebody in marketing wrote that for me.
Yeah,
probably the hype man.
Forrest, come on, man.
Forrest called everybody in for an interview, and he's like,
know anything about unique
tell me
wood.
what you do. And Clayton said, I sniff shit and I taste it, and it's good. And he's like, okay,
unique
so you
wood,
identify unique wood.
Forrest is in tears.
He's like, that's legitimately
he's like, that's
what
how
I did.
it went.
Right.
That's how it went. He said, I made all of these bios sound great. He was like, they were 3-minute interviews, and he said, I make rum, I make whiskey.
Clayton's like, I don't even want to be talking to you right now. I have other shit to do. And
I have to go identify unique wood.
Just say I identify unique wood. I don't know. Get out of here.
I got shit I got to do. I got to go deliver cabs.
And work on my vet degree.
It's been going at it for 22 years, Forrest.
I know. My wife gave me 5 more years.
She has yet to research how long it takes to get the vet degree.
You said as you went along, like you guys came to appreciate Hemingway a lot more, as you got older. I think that's the same for me too, right? I mean, when I'm in high school reading Hemingway, it's like
Cliff Notes.
But I mean,
that guy.
Yeah. Let me just get through the damn test, right? But I mean, he was a super cool guy. I mean, do you guys ever just like, I guess you have to like tell stories about him every once in a while, just amongst yourselves, right?
Yeah.
One of the craziest things that I read about him was he was involved in consecutive plane crashes over the course of 2 days.
Yeah,
now, that doesn't happen to a lot of people, right?
No.
So he's down in Africa. He's flying around, on a tour or whatever they do down in Africa when you fly a plane. I have no clue. Never been there. But they crash into a utility pole. The plane goes down. He's like, his wife has like broken ribs. He's totally fucked up. And so then they get to this rescue plane. The rescue plane goes to take off and explodes on takeoff and severely burns the guy. Like, what the hell, man?
So maybe
Dude,
he was
his
like,
life
no luck.
maybe it was like the first James Bond.
Maybe he was. Maybe he was.
This guy's life was insane, right? I mean, he was I think another thing I read, like when he was in a war and he was trying to deliver chocolate and tobacco back to his friends and took this mortar hit.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
I mean, this is Ernest Hemingway's life. I mean, it's crazy.
This is why you have that like Hemingway festival. The whole like this is why we celebrate him. He is the man's man. Well, I got shot with a mortar. I'm good.
Right.
Pour me some rum.
I was bringing chocolate and tobacco back to the troops, bitch. Leave me alone. What?
Pour me a drink.
But yeah, I mean, like, tell me about some of your guys' favorite stories about Ernest Hemingway. I mean,
I told this at the Owensboro Bourbon Society, and people were they stood up and like started clapping when I told this story. And it was about when he was in World War II as a journalist, and all the bombs and everything are going off and they're getting shot, and he goes to a neighborhood village and gets the locals and forms a platoon and goes and fights.
Well, sure he fucking did.
And like he won a Bronze Star for that.
Yeah.
And like everybody in the audience, when I told that story, they just started like clapping.
Yeah, way to go! Like it was you. Like way to go, Jacob.
I was like,
and by no means was he supposed to do that.
No, not at all.
It wasn't like he got some orders from on high to go form a militia and let's take these guys out.
Let's take those dudes out.
Yeah. I thought that was cool.
That's awesome, man.
Incredible.
Yeah, I don't think I can beat that story.
All right, so I think Brian, we pulled some fun stuff because we're all kind of Kentucky guys all together, right? And a little bit. Were you born in Kentucky?
I was.
And when did you move to?
He had to be a master distiller.
Oh.
He had to be born, and then they shipped him down there. Flew him back up.
Then we flew him back up.
Yeah.
We're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to allow you gentlemen to pick something to drink on the bar.
That's
while
right.
We go through our little fun
Very
Kentucky
nice.
game. All right?
All right.
We'll be back in a second.
At the Firkin podcast, we like to explore the stories behind the drinks. We've done that throughout the first few episodes with a number of amazing guests, and we want to keep bringing great content to you. I want to encourage everyone to become a Firker at patreon.com/Firkin podcast. Help support the show and make what we're doing possible. That's patreon.com/Firkin podcast. Benefits include early access to shows, pre-sale tickets, cutting room floor content. Who could ask for more? Come make the show possible. That's patreon.com/Firkin podcast. So yeah, we're back to the pick pour section. So we had 3 picks.
Yeah, we did.
3 big picks.
Yes, we did.
Why don't we walk through those?
Yeah, so Jacob, you picked the Willett 8-year-old weeded whiskey. We had Clayton pick the Elijah Craig 18-year-old.
Mm.
And then we had Forrest pick the 1996 University of Kentucky bottle, because we know deep down inside that Forrest is a Kentucky fan.
He said, "Go Cats!" I heard him.
That's right. So, what do you think about that? What do you think about that Willett wheat?
Yeah, let's start with the Willett.
Very good. Very soft. Very
Man, it really is. It is really, really soft.
chewy. It's got some of that little bit Kentucky hug to it on the cheeks.
right.
It's a little chewy.
We got 108 proof on that one.
Does not taste like it.
It doesn't taste like 108.
Mm.
You know,
Very easy.
Drew's been doing some cool stuff out there.
Yeah, Drew's a good dude.
Oh, he is an
They're
awesome
building
guy.
a big distillery too, big new one.
He is, every time I go up there, it's always seems to be like full blown under construction, just going on, just crazy out there.
Yeah.
What an awesome one. How you liking that 18 year?
Very good.
And it's
Yeah.
so Elijah Craig is one of those like I don't know, something special about them. Just all Elijah Craig bottles. I don't know. I just love Elijah Craig. A lot of that Heaven Hill juice that's coming out of there.
I'm surprised you picked that after our relative got in a land dispute and a lawsuit.
That's right.
Samuel
That's
Gall
right.
and Elijah
That's
Craig.
what he thought about, and he's like, you know what?
Gosh.
Where we're gonna go?
So, what unique wood did that use?
Number 4 white oak.
Look at that. This is from a professional himself.
golden palate.
Hey, it's very good. I know. It's damn good. So
It's damn
I don't
good.
care how drink it.
That's it.
I
Forrest.
just know if it's good or bad.
come back up here and join us for a second. Tell us what you're thinking about this 96 Makers.
Yeah, man.
He's already
So-
drank most of it.
Completely different than regular Maker's Mark. I think that there's some old school must to it. That's
Yeah.
good must,
Yeah.
right? We talked about it. I think I've always heard that this one was different, so I kind of reached for it, but totally different. I love that we both chose a weeded whiskey.
Absolutely.
And
Yeah.
I don't know, for some reason, there's just something at home with the Maker's Mark, but this is just a little bit different.
Yeah, and hearing that from you, you know, working with Maker's Mark as a tour guide and stuff like that, you've probably had your fair share of Maker's Mark over the years, for sure. I would assume.
Yeah, so I was ahead of the tourism at Maker's Mark for a couple of years, and we would be able to thief right out of the barrels. And obviously,
Yeah.
there's one mash bill there, but different iterations of Maker's Mark, and this one's just so much different, right? Because you
Yeah.
always think that, you know, talk to Rob, and he's like, listen, you know, we spend millions of dollars and keeping our same taste profile.
Right.
And so to think that this came from Steve Nally and it has a little bit of difference, it's
That's
just,
right.
it's
That's right.
wild, man. It's cool.
And again, not to say anything that what Makers is putting in the bottle is bad. Now it's definitely not. It's just that this is definitely has a little bit more of a unique characteristic to it. It's just something that's a little bit different.
Yeah, and I think that, you know, obviously you look at their barrel selection program and how that experience where customers, you'll see some really cool things coming from Hemingway that are very customer forward, able to do your own finishes on barrels.
Yeah.
And just super excited. You know, we talked about the barrels that and the finishes that are in Papa's Pilar. I would see a lot of those barrels entered into the Hemingway SKUs in that barrel program. It'd be really cool to see barrel program that is finished in barrels of islands that Hemingway actually traveled to himself.
Oh, 100%.
That's a cool idea. Ooh,
yeah, might be a little
getting rid of some.
Look at this guy.
Hype man.
Keep drinking for us. Let's figure out what else Western Kentucky Distillery Company has coming out.
Look at this guy, marketing genius over here. It's I knew I was going to get that kind of response.
Oh, that's right.
Come on.
Right. Look at him.
No, but these are great picks. Yeah, and I kind of want to talk to you guys, just being brothers, right? Because Chris, you got a brother. I got a couple of brothers. You guys are brothers. I mean, let's talk about just kind of growing up, right? Like, what was your guys' biggest like beef between each other? Like when you were, let's call it like middle school,
or was it
high
just
school?
perfect? So
Or were you
every
just
day.
like just happy?
I would say basketball.
Basketball.
Yeah, we used to
Alright.
play basketball with each other.
That's
a
a
lot.
good one.
You
Yeah.
know, he was, and I'm 4 years older, but he's a pretty big kid. So, but I,
Push you around a
push him
little
around a little bit
bit.
in the block.
Who's taller?
Me.
That's how it was doing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, when you're 10 and he's 14, of course he's going to beat you up a little bit.
That's
but
right.
Once I get, 15, 16, he's 19 or 20.
Now we're a little more even, aren't we?
Yeah.
Yeah. So when you guys played basketball together, what was your game? Was it 24x4? Was it horse? I mean, like, what
Did
were
a
you
lot
guys
of
playing?
21.
21, yeah.
Yeah.
Around the world, do that some. But 21 was our
Yeah.
main game.
Was that the one?
Yeah, I
And
think
you
so.
dominated him every time?
Once I hit about
Pretty much.
15 to 16.
No.
Ah, see, here it goes.
Not
No.
That's not the way I
No,
remember
it didn't.
The problem is we had the same game. We just sit back and shoot.
That's right.
So when you know your opponent's weakness, it's just. If we had it to do over again, it would be pickleball. That seems like a sport you don't have to run.
Probably a good idea.
I went to a pickleball court one time just to see what it looked like. It's a really tiny court, and I was like, hey, shit, I might be able to play this.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
Hell, my wingspan's almost as long as the damn court.
I don't got to move at all.
3
baby.
steps this way, 3 steps that way.
There was a guy on the plane going to some pickleball national championship event up in
It's
New York or
fucking
somewhere.
huge right now. There's a couple places here who built pickleball courts now because it's massive.
Yeah.
And it's much better than playing the big ass. I mean, I love tennis, but do you see how fast those guys run around the fucking court?
I can't
You see
do
my
that.
weight? You think I'm going to go out there and play tennis?
Cannot do that.
Pickleball is
one.
much better. So we got to go into our fun Kentucky. What are we going to call this, Brian? We don't
Yeah,
even
so,
have really a name for it.
Let's just call it a nip of Kentucky because we need to expand our outreach a little bit outside of Kentucky. And maybe when we do that, people won't really understand what we're saying sometimes.
That's a good call.
You know
All
what
right.
I'm
I
saying?
like it.
Like, I was just exploring some Kentucky background earlier. Just thinking, like,
Kentucky-isms kind of, you would say. You know?
Kentucky-isms, and thinking, I think that's totally normal. Why doesn't the rest of the world think that's normal? And so I just want to kind of throw this out, and it's just an open, it's an open forum here. So you guys just chirp in as you feel inclined. Hey guys, what the heck is a buggy?
You know what a buggy is?
Shopping cart.
That's
Yeah!
right. That's right. It's a
That's right.
shopping cart.
I was fixing to punch somebody.
Punch bug, yeah, slug bug.
Can anyone explain to me Big Blue Madness?
It's Kentucky University.
That's Kentucky.
University of Kentucky.
UK,
Hell
right?
yeah.
Blue Nation.
What happens during Big Blue Madness?
Yeah, you camp out for tickets.
That's
It's
right.
Practice, the first
That's right.
practice.
What the best part
I
is
think
that's
the
camping out for free tickets,
I
too.
know. I wish the football team would do that.
I don't really think they should. And I think they have maybe years past, maybe it wasn't out there to do that. Like the crowd wasn't. But man, they've done so good in the last few years. I think that it's there that you can pull that crowd.
I do
now.
too.
You can pull that crowd at the University of Kentucky. Going to those big games. I mean, they're sold
Alabama's
out.
coming to town. I think,
Yeah, I
this year.
saw that. We're going to that one, man.
Yeah.
We're going. What else you got, Brian?
What do you mean I'm mispronouncing Louisville?
There's a whole.
Everyone in Florida mispronounces Louisville.
Is that right? And how do they pronounce it exactly?
Louisville?
Louisville.
That's right.
Louisville.
I'm a Louisville kind of guy
I'm
because
a
I'm from
Louisville.
Bardstown,
Yeah,
so it's
Louisville.
Louisville.
I'm Louisville.
That's right. Can you get good barbecue in Kentucky?
Only in Owensboro.
Ooh. So, who is it?
love it.
I'm an Old Hickory. I mean,
Old Hickory.
the locals are Old Hickory. Everybody likes Moonlight.
Yeah,
too,
because
but
it's when I looked into barbecue in Owensboro, that's what it is. It's Old Hickory or Moonlight. It's
Yeah.
like you're one or the other.
I did have some bootleg today that was good though.
Oh, bootleg.
Oh, bootleg is good. Yeah,
I'm voting for bootleg.
Oh, it's so
I'm gonna
good.
go with that one.
So,
bootleg's damn good.
what did you have at bootleg? You
Pulled-
didn't have the wings.
pulled
Oh,
pork.
gosh.
Yeah.
So the wings are incredible.
Here's a good one. Hey, man, you know where I can get some real moonshine?
Yeah.
Whose garage are you going to?
Damn straight.
It's Jacob's garage.
That's the
Yeah.
answer, baby.
Come on out back.
What's the moonshine looking like down in Florida? Huh?
Hot.
I like that there wasn't much hesitation.
That's
from
right.
Jacob.
That was
He's
just-
like, yeah.
Yes, I know where you can get some moonshine.
We're not going to talk about it on the podcast.
Fucking kidding me? I'm going to find out. If
Can't
you
get
wanna
those guys in trouble.
Hey, you know? Hey guys, what's a holler?
I was explaining that to my kids the other day.
No way.
Yeah.
What does a
That's-
holler mean?
You know, it's a ravine.
That's
No.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Down from the holler.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know it
A
is.
little valley
I-
between two mountains is what it is.
You guys had me like mic'd up when I was on my airplane or something. The guy sitting by me from Arizona, and we were talking, and we started talking whiskey and this and that. Same thing. He's like, "You ever heard of a holler?"
Is that right?
It's like, well, yeah, actually, I have.
Yeah.
I know
I'm
all
from the
about
holler.
hollers.
Yeah, I don't know, some backstory with him at going to Tennessee as a kid, and his grandfather talking about the holler.
I mean, Randy Travis, he put it the best.
Yeah.
My love is
Yeah.
deeper than the
Yeah.
holler.
Deeper
I
than
mean,
the holler. That's right.
They don't have hollers in Florida, though.
Yeah. You guys are missing the hollers.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
They got gators in Florida. though.
That's right, they do.
Yeah, we just
All right, guys. We know there's Canada Dry. We know there's Seagrams. Tell me about L8.
Oh, L8, man.
Oh,
That's
I
my
love
jam.
L8. Oh,
Yeah.
I love
That's
L8.
right.
It's a late one.
I love
Winchester,
L8.
Kentucky.
That's right.
That's
it
right,
is.
man.
Mhm.
You guys L8 fans? Big
yeah,
on
the
L8?
first time I did not honestly know what it was until I was visiting 10 or 12 years ago, and mutual friends, a guy named Eric, we were driving somewhere, and he stopped at a gas station. He said, "Have you ever had this?" I'm like, "No." And he explained the story of it.
Yeah,
You know, Kentucky, L8. Damn good.
It is good.
Yeah.
So
another
there's-
thing Florida doesn't.
There's not much. There's not mu-
Kentucky's winning right now.
not much better than a country ham sandwich in an L8.
hell yeah,
Look at
man.
that.
Fried country ham sandwich too. Oh,
All right, we got a couple more here. Can you guys tell me about snipe hunting?
Yeah. They're actually now. This is actually true because I always
here we go.
I always thought that was just bullshit.
I did
you
too,
Take
right.
somebody out snipe hunting, but there are actually snipe in Florida, and there is a season on snipe.
What the shit are you talking
I
about?
feel that he's fucking with us.
No. There is a snipe. See, it's one of the birds that you can kill in Florida.
You are not
'Cause I
luring
thought it
me
was
to
bullshit.
Florida to snipe hunt
That's
like
what
I
he's
did
doing.
when
That's
I
what
was
he's doing.
13.
Brian's gonna be sitting out there with his
and
gun,
I was so confused,
trying
as
to get away from
why
gators
I
and
couldn't
roosters.
catch the snipe in the fucking bag. All right,
That is a real thing. Yeah, they also have pythons down there.
Yeah, they have.
They have a python season.
Like to
Screw
go
that.
kill pythons.
Yeah.
What the fuck do you do with them?
You get money for them. They're in a
It's a bounty on them.
Oh, how much money are we
Invasive.
talking about? Because
Yeah,
we got a
invasive
Patreon page
species.
going.
I was gonna say maybe our podcast has changed.
no, yeah, an invasive species they're trying to get rid of. They're killing the deer, the gators, the rabbits.
What the fuck
everything.
do I want to go out there for if they're killing the gator and the deers?
Make money.
They're gonna kill me.
Killing the snipes.
Hey, I'm down for that. Let's
Yeah,
go.
that sounds too hot.
Let's go, baby.
Sounds like I gotta get outside. Brian, you go.
It might sweat.
Fuck that, not a game. We just talked about me wanting to play pickleball
Pickleball.
because I could reach both sides of the court. You think I want to go out and fucking
right.
go
Chase a python.
and chase a fucking python?
That's not happening.
And I'm pretty sure it's gonna go the other way around. The motherfucker's gonna chase me.
All right, guys. One more. What is so special about Kentucky?
So, I'm gonna get sentimental.
Good.
That's all right. That's
Yeah.
how we're ending it.
Kentucky to me is the most beautiful state there is. You've got the limestone, you've got the the bluegrass, but you got the lakes and wildlife. I mean, it's just a beautiful state. Outdoorsy state. I'm an outdoors kind of person. So, family, that's just, Kentucky is just special to me.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, and I'll go on the opposite end, and everything he said is accurate, but the people. I just think the people of Kentucky are, everyone says hi to each other. It's a special place. It feels like even when I've been gone for so long, you still come back, and it's like you never left.
Yeah.
Everybody.
I know exactly what I mean. Yeah.
So everybody's just very cool.
I want to go up, double up on what you were saying about people. I recently kind of partnered with to do this like great, beautiful mural downtown Louisville with a Muhammad Ali mural. And one of the stories I heard is they were talking about the artist who came here from California. His name is Shepard Fairey, massive world-renowned artist. And he said he's going up and he's painting this building. And as much as he's done this all around the world, he's done like massive story buildings all around the world, and people have called the cops on him to like try to get him arrested, just anything. It was like, that guy shouldn't be doing that. He said this is the one place that he came. He's painting this building and he's doing it downtown, and he said people would come up and he was like, hey, can I get you anything? Can we help? Hey, do you want me to come up there? Let me bring stuff down. Can we get you some drinks? Can we get you some food? Wow. And no one is calling the cops. No one's they think it's the best thing for the community. It's just people that are looking out to help. So I have to second that. I think that the people here, I love not only the city that I live in, I love the state that I live in. And it took me, I think, a long time to realize that we're in something so special. I don't think it's like any other city or state. And I think that can also have a lot to do with what we're drinking here today, with this amazing product that our state has produced for so long, that has brought so many cool people together. I've met amazing people in this industry as well as you guys here. And I do think it is a very special state because of the people. So I have to second that for sure.
I'd agree with that 100%. I mean, like I moved around a lot when I was younger. Coming out of high school, I went up to New York. I went up to Central Indiana. I went out to North Carolina. Real fast.
When he says move around a lot, he was a deadhead, and
that's right. I lived in a van down by the river. I did
down by the river.
Made my own clothes and whatnot.
We always like to make fun of Brian at least a little bit, but yeah, he definitely moved around.
As you're doing that, you meet a lot of people, right? And you meet people from everywhere. And while I can say, like, the people that I met out and about, they were amazing. There was nothing like the people from Kentucky that I knew from my childhood, and that's what founded the decision to move back here in my 30s, and to raise my family here, just because I think that just Kentucky as a whole and Louisville in itself is just an amazing place to live. I mean, people are just so friendly and so amazing. And I'm sure you can find that in a lot of other places. Sure. But, man, just being from here, and it's like you said, you were gone for so long, but when you come back, you just feel like you haven't been gone at all.
Right.
And it's fascinating. I love that.
I've traveled a lot, and I assume, you guys probably have throughout your careers too. And there's been times like I've been in a big city, and I've said something just as much as just like brushing up against somebody and saying, "Oh, I'm sorry, excuse me, my bad," and I almost get like the look of like, "Why the fuck are you talking to me?" Right? I don't know. I just thought it would be polite to. I'm sorry that I bumped into you, but so I guess true. I'm not supposed to talk.
So true.
But I would have to agree with all of that. The people.
Yeah.
Forrest, I know you're over at the couch, but we gotta get close this all out. What's great about Kentucky, buddy?
I think the community, right? And I think if you look at what this specific community's done, and you go back to Western Kentucky and some tragic events that happened with tornadoes, and you look at what Green River's done and Jacob's actually done personally, and we were on the grounds 24 hours before, after the tornadoes hit, and we were down there within 12 hours with 13 trucks and a full construction crew that was building new rick houses for Green River. They completely stopped and moved down. And you look at what Fred Minnick's done and the millions of dollars that he's raised for the community here. And then Eastern Kentucky had the floods, and I remember talking to Jacob, and it was during the transition. He's like, let's get a truck truck and let's get some water down there as soon as possible. It's that kind of community. And we talk about the longevity of bourbon and whiskey and when is it going to plateau and stuff. And I can tell you that if it has anything to do with the people that are behind it, it will never plateau. It's going to continue on and on and on. So that's what I'm excited about. And Kentucky is super, super dear to my heart. So.
Hell yeah, man.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for coming out.
Yeah, man, this has been amazing.
Did you guys have a good time?
Had a great time.
Awesome.
Had a blast. Thanks for having me.
Guys, thank you again so much for hanging out with us this time and showing us these great products. If you definitely need to go out and make sure that you buy Hemingway rye whiskey, especially this first edition while you still can, because it's not, once it's gone, it's gone. We don't have any more of it. Jump on the Papa's Pilar train. Is there any place that we can find you guys? Where can we find you? What's
our
going
social?
on?
What's our social handles? Forrest, hype man, get up here,
Forrest,
hype
get
man.
up here, baby.
You can find us at HemingwayWhiskies.com and the Hemingway Whiskies on Instagram and all your social media. You can find Jacob's Distillery at WesternKentuckyDistilling.com and Western Kentucky Distilling on Instagram.
Fantastic.
Awesome. Clayton, can we find you anywhere?
The vet.
Brian, close this out, man.
Excellent. Yeah, man. Thanks, Hemingway Whiskey. And thank you to our listeners for tuning in. Find us on YouTube at youtube.com/@FirkinPodcast. Questions or comments, send them to mailbag@FirkinPodcast.com. Visit our Patreon to become a founding member at patreon.com/FirkinPodcast. Subscribe and rate us on your podcast platform of choice and make sure to share us with a friend. And until next time, let's raise a glass to the stories behind the drinks. Cheers.
Cheers, guys.
Not much left.